So good afternoon, February 15, 2016. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 7 in week number 4. So let's get started. So welcome back after the Chinese New Year's holiday. You are very much welcome and still very much happy Chinese New Year. Well, let's take a look at the Y screen. We are in week number 4, okay? Although we have 2 weeks holiday for the Chinese New Year's holiday, this is still week number 4. Well, if we take into account 2 weeks in which you enjoy your holidays, we have already 6 weeks into the semester. So, please take a look at the teacher's message of this week, okay? The teacher's message week number 4. If you take a look at this teacher's message, we'll see that I've already given you enough indications of what to do. And you have to submit something by the end of this weekend, alright? Now this is not something difficult, this is just the beginning of a very meaningful exercise which I'm going to help you understand more. But first of all, you need to check the pairing list, okay? We do have a pairing list here. If you click into the pairing information, you will understand that we have almost all the students paired, except for 5 to 6 students who might be experiencing some difficulty to get yourself paired. So if your status here is complete, that means you have paired already. That means you can actually start using the pair online discussion forum installed already for you in the past week. Now, if you have not been paired, for some reasons intelligible to you and also to the class, you still have a chance to get yourself paired today. And so when your name pops up with the status of being paired incomplete, for example, Gabriella, are you here today? Okay, Gabriella, you're not here yet. The second one is, let's say, Nicholas, alright? So, and then we still have Karim, who just came back today. And then you have Ming Shen in here. Okay, that's good. So it looks like you two is going to be a pair. Because you sit together. You want to be a pair? Okay? You need to tell me before the end of today's class, because in order to use the pair discussion forum, I need to make sure you will be installed as a pair. Okay? Lavina, you're here today. Okay, so you're there. So Nicholas, you see another one over there who's yet to be paired. Alright? So at least you got someone you can look for. And then we have almost all students paired except for these 5 students. In other words, I still have one orphan. Okay, the orphan need to stay in one of the 10 to 16 pairs. But looks like, okay, is it the lady Gabriella? Is it the lady Gabriella? Gabriella, are you here today? So you know that you're the only lady who has not been paired in this class. So you have 16 to 18 pairs for you to choose, okay? Except for the fact that you must ask for the approval of the pair for you to join, because you will make the pair to have 3 persons, okay? So hopefully you can negotiate to join one pair before the end of today's class, okay? So I have 2 pairs of the men over there. So may you negotiate among yourselves so that we can have 2 pairs. So it's very good that you sit together, okay? Because all of you have not been paired yet. So please let me know before the end of the class so that I can help install you as one pair. And Gabriella, you need to make sure you can negotiate at least to join one of the 18 pairs, okay? So you must get the approval of the pair to accept you, because you make the pair 3 persons. Okay, and then after the pairing information, you need to come back to the teacher's message. Here I have given you the specific information on what to submit, okay? What to submit by the end of this weekend. So you can see that here in the artifacts you're going to submit. If you submit all the 6 artifacts, okay, you can earn up to 64 war points, okay, war score points. Okay, the 64 war score points are divided into the 4 points for the first item. That is your journals to be submitted. Okay, 12 points to be assigned to your peer-based discussion forum, which the 2 of you in your pair or the 3 of you in your pair has to make sure you conduct some online pair discussions using the specific pair discussion forum installed for you, studying from week number 3. Okay, so you can start using it if your status of pairing has been indicated as completed today. If it's incomplete, you must let me know your pairing information so that I can install you to use the pair online discussion forum before the end of today. The third item, which costs you 20 points, is the report. Okay, report is based on your journal and also based on the pair-based discussions details. In other words, that is what you need to do is copy and paste your pair-based discussion detail into a Microsoft Word document, and you can submit a Microsoft Word document. But that is a little bit different. In each report, if your pair has 2 persons, your report must contain 2 topics. If your pair has 3 persons, your report must contain 3 topics. In other words, each person in your pair is responsible for writing the report for your own topic. And there is a guideline here given so that you can follow the guideline to write your report. Okay, right here. It's not going to be too difficult because once you have your journal ready, your report is almost 50% done. With your discussion detail is 60% done, so your report is just some organizations and policies according to the guidelines. Okay, so the 3 sets of report, if you have 3 persons in your pair, will be combined into one report. If you have only 2 persons in your pair, which is normally the case, a pair contains 2 persons, your report will have 2 topics. So you put together the 2 separate reports, you got one report integrated. And then you have a block, which is a very important piece, which will give you exactly another 20 points, because the block is a distillation of your ideas according to your chosen topic. Each person, after finishing your report, must write a reflected block based on the topic you choose. Okay, you have to choose a topic, remember. And how do you choose a topic? Choose your topic based on the questions on any one of the 4 reading lists in the first 4 weeks of the semester. You have 4 reading lists, okay, in week number 1, week number 2, week number 3, week number 4. If I remember correctly, you have 9 questions altogether from the 4 reading lists. What you need to do is select one question as your topic. In other words, you do not need to do all the topics in the 4 weeks, you just need to do one topic selected from one of the 4 reading lists. Okay, that is good enough, one topic. That means one question. Your block is going to tell what you know, what you've learned, based on your reading, your research of that one question. Now, what is meant by reading? What is meant by research? We're going to tell you today that's very important. In this week, you're going to learn something called information literacy. Okay, so let's carry on. After the block, you need to tell us what you want to do next. That is what we call the extensions of your study. So you need to write a simple proposal. The proposal contains a topic, which is the name of the topic, 3 specific questions, very specific question, 3 to 5 relevant references, and 1 simple paragraph, which is going to tell why you select a topic. Okay, the paragraph does not contain more than 20 English words. Okay, but you will only receive 4 points for that proposal. So 4 points. So 4 points for the journal, 12 points for the discussion detail, 20 points for the report, 20 points for your blog, 4 points for your proposal, and then the last item. You have 6 items to submit. It's called the meeting minute, that is the negotiation. You have arrived with your learning partner after the discussions in class or discussions outside the classroom. You tell us what you have agreed with, what your arrangement to meet, anything else according to the format of the meeting minute, and you will have another 4 points. So if you score close to 64 war score points, you will earn close to 10 semester points. Now, in the final analysis of this course, each of you is going to count your score based on 100 points, semester points. Of course, based on that 100 semester point, you know that if you got the 93, you got A. If you got 88, you got A minus, and something like this. So, these learning contract, the first assignment, is going to give you a total of 10 semester points, which is calculated based on how many points you obtain from the 64 points war total. And the allocations of those points based on the 6 artifacts, as you can see, your block is important, your report is important, the discussion details are important because they will give you 40, 52 points already. Okay? So, good luck, and it's not difficult. Alright, so, well, you have to know how do you get those points. Then you need to come back to the rubrics, okay? I've given you the rubrics for you to understand how you can score high in the artifacts that you're going to submit. So read the rubric. Rubric is in the form of a table. For example, your journal, it's something that is very easy for you to get a 4 point. If your journal fulfill the following characteristic, you definitely will get 4 points. Okay, the following characteristic must contain the following important format of the OIA. Okay, because the OIA of your journal represents your efforts to do thinking along the OIA format, which is an example of critical thinking exercise. Okay, and the O means note-taking, the I means questioning, and the A means lessons learned. All right, so you have to make sure in your journal you need to demonstrate this format of understanding. Now, having said this, let's go back to the course website. Okay, the Moodle course websites have given you enough of the indications of where to submit those artifacts. So if you come across and actually through the week number 4 block, you can see that I've given you something called the submission links. Okay, immediately after the block number 4. Here you can see 6 important submission links, 1 for each of the artifacts. So this is the link where you're going to submit your journal. The second one is where you're going to submit your discussion details. You just need to copy and paste into Microsoft Word document. And this is where you're going to submit your report, and that is the one you're going to submit your blog. And then the individual personal proposal, the paired meeting minutes. Okay? So 1 submission link for each artifact. Now remember, each one of you must submit the artifact by yourself. This link is for individual students. Okay? When I try to give you a score by doing some grading, I discover you have not submitted the artifact, that means you will not receive any score there. Now, even though, normally speaking, this will be something common between 2 of you in your pair, but you have to submit it on your own. Remember, do not say that, oh, I thought my partner submitted for me. No, no such thing. Each student is responsible for your own submissions. Okay, this is very important. And then at the end of your submissions, you need to complete what we call a student feedback questionnaire for this learning contract number 1. Okay, these important questionnaires must be completed according to the time assigned. The questionnaire will be open on the same day when those submission link will be open. Now day 6 submission link will be open on this Saturday, midnight of this Saturday. Okay, and this feedback questionnaire will be open at the same time. The difference is those links will be closed on Sunday evening. These submission links will be closed on Sunday evening. In other words, you have 2 days time to submit your work. All that we say is February the 20th is the deadline, but actually you can submit it until February the 21st. Okay, you can submit until 11:55 on Sunday evening. But this student feedback questionnaire will be closed next Monday evening, 11:55. To make sure you have extra day to do this questionnaire to give feedback on what you learned. Okay, having said that, many students ask me, can we have example of students' work on individual items? So I give you an example of student work. Now make sure these examples of student works has a lot of room for improvement. So do not just take this as the standard. These are not the standard, these are just examples. Example of students' work on the journals from last semester, okay? But they will give you the format, okay? They give you the format. First of all, you need to name a question, okay? And this question is named, or what we call a topic, and this question is named from which reading list. Say, for example, in this journal, is from reading list number 1, which means week number 1. And then immediately after the question, if you look at the reading list, I've given a number of sources. You have to examine at least one source. So this is the source examined by the student. And after that, you are highly encouraged to develop your personalized questions under the question you selected. So the personalized question developed, it's what is information security for us? Okay, this is a very technically correct way to do that. All right, and then you need to provide some discovery after looking into this source. And the discovery for this student is expressed in the form of his direct answer. But answer is not what is most important. It's the observations, the interpretations, as well as the applications. Now let me tell you one more time. This is not the best journal, but it's a very useful journal. In the context of a journal, under observation, you need to name a number of items you discovered from the source. In the best possible journal, under interpretation, you need to name a number of questions which are related to the discovery that you find in the particular source. And you need to also name a number of lessons learned under the applications. So these, it's measures of the individual efforts or individual deep learning that is to be demonstrated by each one of you, okay? And other relevant sources that has been checked by the students include this too. In other words, it's expected you name 3 sources to help you to discover information on the topic you choose, all right? So this is an example of a journal. So after the journal, of course, you have something else. It's what we call the discussion forum example. This is an example of discussion forum example. If you take a look at the discussion forum example, it's given by one student on a specific topic he or she chose, and then a number of sources, and then the what we call discovery of the information and share between the 2 of them in the pair. And so this is a rather lengthy discussion using the peer discussion forum, and this is done by copy and paste. So just enjoy reading someone's discussion forum. But my advice to all of you, when you do the discussion forum, be sensitive to the needs of your partner. If your partner wants you to respond to a specific point of interest, do not give your partner 6 to 7 pages of information to respond. Be more pinpointed. That is very important as a partner to help your learning partner to accomplish the discussions. So again, if you look at the specific rubrics for peer-based discussion forum, you can come to this particular table. We are going to give you points on the discussion detail you render based on 3 sub-criteria. Each row represents 1 criteria. So first of all, did you enter discussions? If you have not entered anything, you're going to score 0. If you have given some ideas that it's fully developed, you're going to score 1. If you have some developing idea, you're going to score 2. If you have well-developed idea, you got 3. If you have well-developed idea with at least 1 full paragraph and introductions of new ideas, you got 4. So if you got 4 on each one of these sub-rows, you got 12 points. Okay? It's not difficult to earn the discussion forum score. Actually, it's easier to score than to render a proper discussion forum. But my advice to you is, when you do the discussion forum, make sure you focus on helping your partner to identify his or her observations, his or her interpretation, his or her applications. So you are helping one another to sharpen his or her own skills in critical thinking. Okay? So make the best use of this rooms of development and also rooms to earn the score the best you could. Again, I want to remind you, it's not difficult to score 12. Okay? So after this, definitely you want to take a look at the report. So the report, I've given you another example from the previous semester. It's done by 2-person pair according to the format suggested. So you can see the name of the 2 students and the report line up like this. Okay? So I just do a copy and paste for you. Alright? So it's not going to be difficult, but it's the kind of things you need to learn to organize, to present the work you did in your journal, in the discussion forum detail, and put it together according to the guideline here in writing your report. Okay? So enjoy this excellent student samples work. And after that, definitely we come to the blog. The blog, surprisingly, does not have to be long, but it has to be structured in a way when we read through it, we understand how you learn something. For example, in this very reasonably short blog, about 300 words, the student tells the step-by-step process of IBM, about the artifacts done and the process of learning. And then this is how he or she has technically scored high in the blog because it's very readable. Okay? So learn from the examples given, and then the proposal. Again, the proposal, the title, the questions, the references, and a short paragraph with the reasons of why you choose the topic that you want to work on. So there's an indication of the effort that you want to demonstrate in order to complete the first learning contract. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the nature of this assignment in today's class. So I have to go through this in a rather swift format. So finally is the meeting minutes. You can see that in this pair they have produced 2 meeting minutes organized in a way that could tell you how the 2 of them thought about the work that has to be done in the form of the content, the meeting discussions, the follow-up, the decisions made, so that it's, and who is going to do what. Okay, so it's a very useful way to organize something to help you not to forget something that you are determined to accomplish before the deadline. So you can see that these are the format I would like you to follow in writing your meeting minutes. Where you're going to meet in class, also outside the classroom. So oftentimes give you time to discuss, and when you do the discussions, take a look at the way they keep track of the the topics they finish discussing. And at the end of the discussions, they have the decisions made and who's going to do what. And so the next time when you do the meeting, they have to follow up at the very beginning. So follow up, records, decisions, actions to be taken. All right? So something like this, it's what I would like you to learn to get started with your semester's learning. Now, it's okay, you cannot do all of these, but you need to have a good directions to follow. And so the first learning contract is what we call a learning project, which has a deep learning curve, but you're going to be well compensated. Okay? So having said that, allow me to bring you back to this week. Okay? This week is week number 4. Okay, week number 4. So very quickly, we come to week number 4 of the semester. Now let's take a look at the theme. We're still in inquiry-based learning. Actually, last week, we're going to be in inquiry-based learning. Next week, we're going to enter a new phase, and we call it self-regulated learning, which is also based on IBL. Now, the module we're going to finish this week is called information literacy or information competency. Very interesting, 2 things. But why do we need to study that? Well, basically, in the first learning contract, in the context of inquiry-based learning, when we say that you are going to question into something, but what are we going to question into? Where should we start? But normally we start by choosing a topic of interest. And when we have chosen a topic of interest, we're dealing with the challenge of managing information. And so information literacy is the kind of skill or being that we need to be well equipped to understand how we can handle information. So to begin with, I need to introduce to you the important context of information literacy in about 6 minutes time.
Most people hear the phrase information literacy. They focus on the word literacy and assume that it has to do with being able to read and write. In actuality, information literacy, sometimes called information fluency, focuses on an individual's relationship with the information available to them in their daily life. Information is abundant and in more format than most people can utilize, and at some point we all suffer from information overload. Information literacy is critical in allowing individuals to skillfully and knowledgeably take advantage of this new environment in their personal, academic, and professional lives. In this tutorial, the basic concepts of information literacy will be explored, especially as they pertain to students in higher education. The term information literacy was coined in 1974 by Paul who noted that those who were information literate were able to mold information sources in order to find solutions to problems. 15 years later, a definition was created that is still in use by many educators and academic organizations today. The ALA's Presidential Committee on Information Literacy distinguished those qualities that make one information literate, stating that a person must be able to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. Information literacy applies to everyone, inside and outside academia. It's about learning the skills to understand and navigate this new information world encountered on a daily basis. If one can utilize these skills and effectively use information, they fulfill the primary goal of becoming lifelong learners. Those who have learned how to learn, who can always find the information needed for any task or decision at hand. Although it applies to everyone, information literacy will vary according to the individual. An undergrad will use very different skills from someone already in a career, or those skills used in one's personal life. We will look briefly at information literacy as it pertains to higher education. In 2000, the Association of College and Research Libraries developed a set of 5 standards, performance indicators, and outcomes to define the information literate student. These standards touch upon 5 major components of information literacy: need, access, evaluation, use, and ethics. The first standard focuses on determining the need for information and recognizing what types and how much information are required. This includes being able to define the need, such as in a thesis statement. It's knowing what resources are available for the particular subject and choosing those that will be the most effective. This standard discusses recognizing the feasibility of conducting certain research while also coordinating a realistic timeline. The student should be willing to reevaluate and clarify their information needs throughout this process. The second standard focuses on accessing information. It may seem that students would be adept at this because of the abundance of information and easy-to-use search tools. However, this standard is really about getting the best information and not necessarily the most or fastest. Students must be aware of the research methods used in a particular subject. They need to apply effective search strategies with appropriate tools to then access this information. Although there are always exceptions, it is important for them to try to use a variety of methods and systems instead of relying on a single research tool like Google. And they must be willing to refine their search strategies as needed. Finally, it is crucial that once found, students can manage these resources, being able to extract and organize the pertinent material so that it can be easily accessed while working on their final product. The third standard focuses on two types of evaluation. First, students need to evaluate sources to make sure they are legitimate and authoritative, especially in an environment where creating and distributing information can be done by practically anyone. It's also critical that students recognize bias, prejudice, deception, and manipulation within sources. Second, students need to evaluate the information within their source. This requires them to be able to understand the material, extract the main ideas, and know what parts would be best utilized in the final product. They should be able to take this information and synthesize it into their new ideas and concepts that can then be compared to prior knowledge, allowing them to test their ideas and theories. It is also important for students to investigate different viewpoints. They need to be willing to discuss their findings and research with other individuals and practitioners. Finally, based on the information gathered, students need to evaluate their strategies to determine if modifications will be required to get better or more applicable resources. Standard 4 is about using this newly evaluated information to create a product such as a research paper. In general, this standard focuses on being able to cohesively and adeptly incorporate and utilize the new and prior information and effectively present it in a way that is understandable and clearly supports the main thesis. Finally, according to Standard 5, students need to be aware of the ethics of information. This does not mean students simply need to cite their sources to avoid plagiarism, although this is an important point. Students need to be aware of topics that can affect their research in daily life, such as privacy and security, copyright, intellectual freedom, fair use, censorship, and the freedom of speech. They must understand and follow the laws and regulations surrounding information. They then need to acknowledge information sources using appropriate documentation style and citing accurately and as needed. These standards may seem overwhelming to incorporate into a single course. However, the development of an information literate student takes place over their entire academic career and will continue long after. It is up to the instructor to decide what standards apply and should be taught within their course. Eventually, all the standards will come together. The information literate student is not the creation of any single individual. He or she has been molded by a wide variety of people, including professors and librarians. Please consult the Rice Library Information Literacy LibGuide. This guide will provide you with a full list of ACRL standards, performance indicators, and outcomes with corresponding sample activities. It also provides additional links and resources to make understanding and incorporating IELTS skills easier. Please ask the reference librarians at Rice Library about what you can do to make information literacy a more prevalent part of it.
Okay, so in this 6 minutes time, the basic theme of information literacy has well been laid out by this beautiful lady with a very good sound. Okay, what is it? Information literacy. Now that you know that you need to start out the assignment of learning contract number 1 by choosing a topic of interest. So you have a need for the information of the topic you have chosen. Okay? You have a need for the information of the topic you have chosen. So you have a need. Information literacy, 5-step, you have a need. With that need, you need to go access the relevant information. Access. Where are you going to access those information? In the traditional library, you can find different types of information with those hard copies, journal, paper, magazines, articles. In today's world, you can actually Google them and access them electronically. So access, you know how to access those needed informations. You know there is a need. And now with the need, you need to access those information. But normally, we can access more information that we actually need. So there is a process of evaluations to filter out those really relevant information from those that are not so important So there is a step called evaluate. You need to evaluate the informations. Evaluate them in a sense, look up those really important informations that is relevant to what you need. Based on those information you have access, so you evaluate. At the end of your evaluation, you pull together something useful. Why do you put them together? Because you need to use them. Use them in your report writing. Use them in your discussions. Use them in your in-class sharing. So you need to use them. Use those information you have actually evaluated. Based on the information you have actually accessed. Based on the need, you know you need those informations. So now you have something you can use. Need, access, evaluate, use, right? But you cannot just use the information. If you just take the information as if they are your own, you're stealing something from someone without recognizing where you got this. So the ethical standards require each one of us to cite the sources. Ethics means you must cite the sources. Means give out the sources from where you got those informations. That is ethics. So information literacy requires each one of us to understand there is a need for information. We need to access those information. We need to evaluate the information so that we can use the relevant information, but with a citation. Credit the sources. So these are the 5 main steps or stages of the work. Now, it's a little bit abstract, but can I give you a much more concrete example of doing that? With your journal, you have to select a topic. The topic is selected from a pool of 9 topics from the first 4 reading lists. So, you start searching for information related to the topic of your interest. In the process of searching your information, you discover something very interesting. Now, I'm going to introduce to you the meaning of discover. Okay? Discover in the context of information literacy, it's very sensible. So let's go back to our website and the Moodle environment. Let's do an 8 minutes discovery. All right? meaning of discover information literacy. Now this is just one of the many examples to help students to get used to the steps in order to do information literacy project. I would consider your first learning contract. The artifacts you need to produce before the end of this weekend is an example project in information literacy using the discover method. Okay? But on top of the discover method, which sounds to be very much mechanical, I've already given you the NAT, that means the principle behind this, that is the critical thinking stuff, the observations, the interpretations, and the applications. Alright? So now I would like you to pause for minutes. You know that you have to submit the artifacts 6 items in order to complete the first learning contract. But you need to do something. What you need to do at the very beginning is you must select a topic. And this topic must be selected based on your personal interest. Well, you can say that my interest does not lie in any of the topics outlined in the first 4 weeks of the reading list. But in order to make it interesting for you, you need to try to develop your personalized questions. If you can develop your personalized questions, and then you go from the personalized questions back to the 9th possible topic that is available in the 4 reading list, you can always find at least 1 question or 2 questions which can accommodate your personalized questions. So the next step is you must have negotiations with your learning partner of what to choose. Okay? And so you can start with define, next to inquire, next to search, next to organize, next to verify, and then express, write a report, share your ideas, and finally reflect on it. That's your blog, okay? So now I'm trying to transition you from doing an assignment as if you have to do with an assignment to making sense of an assignment, understanding the morale and the rationales behind doing an assignment, is to develop in each one of you the skills of information literacy. Based on the fundamental skill each one of you should already master. To read, to write, and to think. Okay? So, and of course you need to share here. After this weekend, coming weekend, you can sign up for next week's in-class sharing to tell us what you did. Alright? But before that, okay, I need to make the best use of time. I just have less than 20 minutes time. I want you to be aware of what is meant by a research assignment. Okay? You're doing something according to an instructor's guideline. Or better say, I've given you this assignment. You know that you need to come up with something based on the guidelines, which include 6 artifacts: the journals, the discussion details, the report, the blog, the proposal, and also the meeting minutes. So mechanically speaking, if you're just dealing with an assignment, you just get it by. But I want you to understand the meaning behind this, besides developing in each one of you the skills of information literacy. I want you to engage yourself into something you discover as interesting. And so we call this a research assignment. Now let's try to take a look at your assignment from a different perspective, including the idea of information literacy. Are you ready? Okay. Today we're going to motivate you to make sure you understand you're doing something high-end. What is meant by high-end? These can help you to develop your higher order thinking, not just the low order mechanical skill. So what is it?
Hey there. Welcome to the Mercy College Library's Information Literacy Module Series. In this module, You will learn the basics about acquiring the information literacy skills needed to deal with the research papers and assignments that will be a big part of your academic career here at Mercy, regardless of your major. First off, what is this information literacy system? Glad you asked. Information literacy is the ability to recognize, locate, use, and attribute valid and credible information sources, including books, journals, magazine and newspaper articles, and an ever-growing variety of multimedia sources. In this module, you will learn the importance of understanding your assignment, choosing a topic that fits the assignment, narrowing or expanding your topic, creating a topic sentence, and determining what kind and how much information you will need. Research assignments can vary depending upon your class and your professor. But let's say you've been assigned a 4 to 6 page research paper requiring 2 outside sources using either the APA or MLA citation styles.
The report you need to write.
What does that mean? Well, it's like this. A research paper or project usually means you need to construct an argument or take a position, make a case for your chosen topic. To support your argument, you'll need to find and use outside sources of information. An outside source is any information that is not included in your course text or class readings. When searching for information to support your argument, it is very important that you select what we call authoritative sources, sources that have credibility and validity. This is where things can get tricky because there is so much information available to you these days, especially on the internet. It's becoming more and more difficult to determine not only what is credible and what is bogus, but even where to start. Not knowing where to go or what to do can become very frustrating very fast, leading to that dreaded modern malady known as information overload and you don't want to go there. Let your librarians help you. Before going any further into this, it's very important you understand the assignment and what your professor expects of you. If you are uncertain or unclear on any part of what's expected here, including how much time you have, get with your prof before pushing on, okay? All right, so I've got this 4 to 6 page paper to deal with. Where do you even start with this piece? A couple of points to consider when getting started. Always try to choose a topic that interests you. Whenever possible, choose a topic that is related to your major. For the purposes of this example, let's say you have chosen the topic of bullying for your paper.
What are you looking at, butthead?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That guy. Okay, we've got to start. We've also got a big and broad topic. What to do? First, let's break it down. Brainstorm ideas on the topic. Throw some ideas in. Don't worry about whether they're good, bad, right, wrong, useful or not, completely ridiculous. Just throw down some thoughts that come to you when you think of bullying. Maybe bullying in the internet. Read about that a lot. Maybe bullying in social media, Facebook, etc. Wait, there's a word for that, isn't there? Yeah, cyberbullying. Okay, making progress. Maybe something on cyberbullying and social media. Sweet. Now what? Remember that in a research paper, you are creating an argument, staking out and defending a position on your topic. So what's next? Try taking your idea and putting it into a single topic sentence. For ideas to help you, Google or other search engines can be a great source. Search engines, as we'll talk about more in subsequent modules, have limited use as sources for academic writing like this, but they're a great source of ideas and a good place to start. For example, let's take a quick look around Google for cyberbullying and social media. Well, looky here. Seems cyberbullying and social media has caused suicides. That's some serious stuff. What's being done about this? What can be done? What should be done? Wait. Do you feel the topic sense coming? Maybe something like, what steps are being taken to prevent cyberbullying and social media? Dang, we're good. Okay, here's what we've got covered so far. You understand your research assignment, what's expected of you, and how much time you have to do it. You've kicked around some ideas and boiled it all down to a topic, sentence, or question from which you'll develop an argument. That will be your paper. You need to go and get 2 credible sources you will use to support your argument. In our next module, you'll learn about the open and closed web and how to use library resources to get the best sources for your paper. Oh, and those citation styles your professor is requiring? Don't worry about that just yet. We'll get to that too. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next installment.
We're going to cover the second module and the third module on our first day class to make sure you get a good idea of what is expected of you in a research assignment. The most important thing in this particular video is how you can start out with your research assignment as your interesting topic for investigations. Okay, what's our challenge? Information overload. We have too much information to deal with in a very short period of time. Look at that. This assignment is going to be an assignment done over a period of 4 weeks. Okay? First 4 weeks. We have 6 weeks already because of the Chinese New Year's holiday. But when we really have to do it, we have 1 week left. So you're going to do this assignment using 1 week's time. Now, do not expect you can do anything perfect in 1 week. But learn the challenge. You're going to deal with this in 1 week. Okay? Because you're going to learn how to do it, not just one time. You're going to repeat the process in your second learning contract and the third learning contract. But my advice to you is, this is not that kind of assignment is going to bog you down. This is the kind of assignment which is going to stimulate you that you need to go in this direction. Okay? So learn how to manage your assignment by creating some interest in it. But you have to be serious enough to be funny. Okay? So my advice, as I'm going to end it now at 5 o'clock in this afternoon, I'm going to give you 10 minutes time to talk with your learning partner, okay, to discuss about what strategies are you going to use in this 1 week. This is Monday, and you're going to get it done by 11:55 Sunday, okay? All right, so help yourself to discuss with your learning partner to see if you understand what the challenge in front of you. In the meantime, could you come to make sure that you can give me the information of your learning partner here? Go to week number 2. Here in the document Q&A online here. Click on this link and give me your information and your partner's information. And then I can install you before the end of today to have the peer discussion forum. Okay? Now feel free to talk with your learning partner for 10 minutes at least to make sure you understand what is ahead of you in this week. Okay? This is not the end of the world, just 1 week's challenge. Okay? In the meantime, I'm going to take attendance. Johnson is here today. You don't live here. Thank you. Star, yes. Ken, yes. Thank you. Terry? Not here yet. Iris? Not here yet. Andy? Thank you. Christina? Thank you. Gabriella? Thank you. Sonia? Thank you. Tina? Not here yet. Okay. Cleo? Thank you. Joey? Thank you. Winnie? Thank you. Iris is here too, right? Oh, Iris sick. Okay. So let's give her some support. All right. And then Xiao Hui. Are you here, Xiao Hui? Thank you. Danny? Thank you. Nicholas? Thank you. Garland? Thank you. Blue? Thank you. Karim? Thank you. Ming Xian? Not here today? Oh, thank you. Louise? Thank you. Raymond? Thank you. Steve? Thank you. Levine? Thank you. All right, so the first page is over. So, Serenia? Thank you. Muffin? Thank you. Fred? Thank you. Michelle? Thank you. Fatima? Thank you. Heidi? Thank you. Karen? Thank you. Erica? Thank you. Yoga? Thank you. Gambo? Thank you. Winner? Thank you. Ada? Thank you. Steve? Thank you. Gia? Thank you. Ken? Oh, she's sick. I think she's sick. No, she's not sick. It's a loss of passport. Hannah? Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, if you have a question, feel free to ask me, either in class or through documents Q&A online. All right? So it's very important that you ask questions. Yes. Yes, I'm coming. Basically, this is online document, so you can write to the journal. So it's not anything that you're going to submit, it's for your convenience to write something. Okay? So if you have chosen a topic in week number 1, I'm going to use this week number 1 to write the topic. So just what we work on. You can track your bits and pieces. Oh, sure. You have the follow. Okay? You need any help? Gabrielle, make sure you know which pair you're going to join and write me a response here in week number 2. Okay, Dr. What's Q&A hotline, ranking Gabriella. This link. Week number 2, this link. Okay? And tell me which pair you have joined. Okay? So that I can install you right in this link. Yes, hotline. You can tell me the pairing information. Alright? got Levine's informations. Okay. So I got a new pair form. So let's try to do this. So Nicholas and you and Levine is pair 19. Okay? You cannot submit now until December. Two topics, one from you and one the other from yes, I mean this should not be too long. Are you going to actually do it this way? We can comment in I'm going to change it. Yes, 5 pages in the topic. Yes, let me change it. Yes, choose a topic. When you chose a topic for the journal, that's the topic. Export. You don't need to worry about export, just do the copy and paste. Don't do export at this point. Okay. So Kareem and Minshin, okay, you are going to be pair 20, right? Let's see. any question in class now, I must let you go because it's already 5:12. And we're going to meet you again here on Thursday for the follow-up of the 2 modules on information literacy. See you back here on Thursday. That's it for today's CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Day number 7, week number 4. All right.